This is July the 26th, and this is the status of our summer garden. The zinnias in our container garden are still doing very well. Here is the first container, and then if we scan to the other side, there is another pot right here under the shade screen, and it's also doing well. And then here's another container out in the open, and this container is also doing very, very well. These are the zucchini squashes right here, and they are still bearing fruit. The birds had been pecking at the fruit of the zucchinis, and what we found as effective is to put the zucchinis right here on a net sleeve and then wrap with a sling that's made out of plastic. And this plastic is a recycled package from the grocery store. And here's that zucchini. It's quite very long. It's about 8 inches, and it's about ready to be harvested. There are some aphids here on the zucchini. Surprisingly, we have ants here, small ones. So what I'm gonna do here with this small fruit, I probably will need to cut this off, we'll see. But there's aphid infestation here, and what I have done is spray it with soap and some water in there. I don't know if it's gonna be effective, but right here, there's a fruit right next to it that's growing. I might focus on this one for full growth and snip that other one that has some infestation. So here again, I'm just gonna move the leaves over here. Here's a fruit that's quite growing well and healthy. Here's another fruit that's quite long and big, about the same size as the first one. So this is ready to be taken out this afternoon or harvested. You can see here the netting that protected this fruit from being pecked from the birds. The Swiss chard is still doing very well. At this point, it needs to have some leaves harvested in it, and it has been moved from the shade screen to this position because we need to access the tomatoes under the shade screen, and we will be keeping an eye on this one to make sure that it is watered well. Here are Malabar plants that we have experimented this time, and it has grown quite well. And here's a closer look at that plant. This is the red one, and it's doing quite well. We just need to keep it moist at all times. Here's the other container of the Malabar plant. This is the green type of Malabar. The other 2 seeds that we germinated did not come out, so we only had one that came out, and we'll see how well this will do. These are the green onions that we are also container gardening. We basically grew these for the greens, and this came in onion sets, and when we harvested the onions out of this one, because the tops had already spent out, the bulb really didn't grow that big. So this is good basically for us, just for the green leaves. Here's a zucchini squash that I have not placed any sleeves on. The birds has not bothered it, so I might just leave it alone, see what happens. When I see initial pecking, I'm going to contain that by putting a sleeve on this one with a net, and then put another sheathing that's plastic made out of grocery package. We're going to look at the tomato plants under the arbor right now and see how well they've been growing. And this one has risen to about 9 feet up towards the end of the arbor itself. There are 3 tomato plants here, 2 in 1 bucket. It's a 5-gallon bucket, and these plants have been in here for about 3 months already, since April the 26th. However, 3 days ago, we found some worms in them, and the worms are called hornworms or tomato hornworms. The tomato hornworms mainly did damage to this particular stem, and it took out about a foot of a full-grown stem. And according to literature, they work from the top of the stem all the way to the bottom. It also ate some blossoms off the trunk, and as you can see here, the leaves are stripped. And 2 or 3 of these large worms of about 5 inches will strip your whole plant if you have not noticed it. This is another area that the worms also damaged. As you can see here, there are leaves that had been eaten off, but the plant seems to be recovering, so that's good news. I have caged the fruit itself with organza wrapping, and this one is made very loosely. It is sewn and then had tied string at the base of it. It's really a gift bag, or pattern after a gift bag. I made this one, and this is to keep moths from boring through the young fruit, and I made about 4 of these. Here's another view of the bag that I made, and here you can see the fruit would have room to grow in, and it would have ventilation. This is loosely sewn together, and the light can pass through, but the bugs in here is screened out, and this is tied loosely to let air circulation in. And here are views of a larger tomato fruit that has been wrapped and caged on the organza packaging. There's extra netting here to keep the birds from coming in and pecking through the fabric. And here is another view of another tomato package, and here's the tomato, and the red yarn here ties to the stem, and it is loosely tied to let air circulation again to pass through. The zinnias are doing very well under the arbor and outside of the arbor, so these flowers give color to this desert container garden. This is a short update to what's going on with our garden here in southern New Mexico. And thank you for stopping by.